Hey everybody, it's your boy Terry, coming to you live from the MGM Grand, coming to you live from the Terry Cave. Tonight is... Dun, dun, dun. Hey look, it's Zena. When I did something to the camera. There's Zena, she's hiding over there. Oh, I'm still plugged in. So hi Zena. And it's laundry day here at Casa de O'Brien. You can hear the dryer probably spinning in the next room. Catherine's watching some Jennifer Aniston movie in the living room. I believe it's with Kevin Costner, where he's supposed to be the guy from Mrs. Robinson. Anyway, I'm still in recovery from the Massachusetts trip. As you can tell, I'm still kind of droopy up here. Yeah, it takes a lot out of a guy who's reaching my age. But again, it was a lot of fun. I spent most of the day in bed, sleeping, sometimes not sleeping, catching up on podcasts I missed over the weekend. I was not able to get out for that walk today. It was nice enough here today. I just needed to stay prone. And I'm probably going to go to bed about a half an hour after I finish folding these 17 baskets of laundry I have to fold. Anyway, it was... what was I going to say? There's a couple of videos up on the Facebook of a couple of my songs. I sang Magical Mystery Tour and Jet. One's a Beatles song, one is a Wings song. I sang both of those with a live horn section. And it's a shame because the horns don't sound as good on video as they sounded in the venue, where they kind of filled the room and bounced off the walls and notched the energy in that room up a bit. I don't care if you hit the perfect notes, if you're bringing the energy. So it was really fun as the singer in those songs, to just kind of ride that wave. Anyway, it's Jet, Magical Mystery Tour. I did a third song that was Helter Skelter. It was probably my best performance of the night, but there was about 8 people left in the place by the time we got to that song. I loved the show, and I was up there regardless for no matter how long the show was, but it was a long show. There were 72 songs signed up for. The show started a little bit late, and the drummer hit some traffic. So he didn't get loaded until about 6:30, which was the scheduled time. So the show started about 15, 20 minutes late. And when you have a different performer for almost every song, that minute or two transition between acts times 72 people, or times 72 songs, really can start to expand your night. So the show started about 6:45 and didn't end until about 10:15. So that's like, or 12:15, 12:30. So that's about 5.5 hours. That's a long show. And even the diehards, but by the place at its peak had probably 125 people in it. It was a bar about the size of, I'm trying to think of a Cape May comparison. It's about, I would say, half the size of Cabanas and had about 120 people in it. So it was wall to wall there for the brunt, the middle part of the show. And then it emptied out pretty quickly around 11, because I was probably the youngest person in that crowd, aside from some of the kids who came with their parents. And I was ready for bed by like 11. So when you get to 12, 12:15, 12:30, it's a really, really long night. Especially when you drove up that morning and all the travel involved and all that. So I've given them all the advice I can give them on how to make that show run a little smoother and run a little shorter. You got to put a cap at like 60 songs. Every act gets 2 songs. Just make them do their 2 songs at once instead of trying to space them out throughout the night. I think they're trying to do a courtesy that they get to do a song early and a song later when the crowd's really there, but all that really does is add time to the show. When we ran our open mics, hold on, I got a little Facebook there. When we ran our shows, you went on when I said you went on, or you didn't go on. Not trying to be mean about it, but here's the set list. Here's when you go on. And I didn't release the set list before the show. Come at 7, the show's over at 11. It's 4 hours of Beatles music. It's not going to kill you. You go on when you go on. If you have time later, you come up, play an extra song. You know what song the band's playing, come up and sing a harmony or something. But you gotta keep a tight grip on it, or it can get away from you pretty quick, especially with 72 songs and 30 something acts. But it's their 10th annual, so they're doing something right. And there's talk about putting a house band together to play some just band sets like we do at our shows. And I might be part of that band, I might not. If they would like me to do so, I would make a weekend of it. Go up maybe Friday afternoon, stay the weekend, or Thursday night, or just make a weekend of it and not go up and down in a 24-hour span, because that's too much for my old hiney to handle. I want to thank everyone who linked me to the YouTube clip. I don't know if I mentioned this last night. There's a YouTube clip of two young black men in a subway somewhere singing, I think, 8 days a week or All My Lovin', and they are wonderful. They sound fantastic. And they look like young African American teenagers, which is even more amazing. Not that they're African American, but teenagers who know the Beatles playing them in the subway is pretty great. Someone's doing a good job with them. But you can stop linking me to that. I've had about 12 to 15 people link me on that. It keeps showing up in my timeline. And I appreciate it. It's nice to know that when people hear the Beatles, they associate me with that. It's a very proud thing for me. But nobody else has to link me to that YouTube clip. Well, sometimes I have to sit and come up with material for this channel. Sometimes the material writes itself. Our very good friend, the friend of the channel, Erin, I won't say her last name, but Erin, who is a subscriber and a Patreon supporter, shared a very funny story on her Facebook last night of getting up in the middle of the night. And she is in a wheelchair. Erin, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were injured or disabled or what's going on. It's still funny, but I'm sorry you have to be in a wheelchair. She got up in the middle of the night, like many of us of a certain age have to do, and use the facilities. And when you're finished using the facilities, you have to go through the mechanics of cleaning yourself after using the facilities. And Erin did so like a normal human adult. Just she used a Clorox disinfectant wipe, which she said, I think, added an extra layer of freshness. Is that the word for burning and tingling? Freshness? Thank you for sharing that with us, Erin. You put it on Facebook, so I figured it was fair game. There's only 32 That's right, we're up to 32 subscribers now. But I laughed, and then I felt bad for a minute. Then I was like, oh my gosh, she's in a wheelchair, and then I laughed some more. So thanks for sharing that story, and I hope it's not too much that I share it here. We're among friends. There's only a handful of us. But I wish you the best. I'm not sure what's going on. You can leave a comment, and we can all wish you well if you want to share what's going on. If not, we'll respect your privacy. I hope it's nothing permanent or lasting. Last time I saw you, you were fine. Now I read on your Facebook you're in a wheelchair, so hopefully everything turns out okay. But I want to thank you for your support of this channel, and thank you for your support on the Patreon. It means a lot to me. And Erin has a son, and my youngest son, they're friends. I won't get names of children on here if I can help it. I remember not to. Erin's her family is very, very nice. And I probably already said your last name 10 times on here anyway, but I'll try to be discreet. Also want to thank my friend Sue Pulser, my keyboard player in my Beatles band, who's a wonderful person, really talented. Plus, as we say in the business, you're negative, neutral, or plus. She's a plus singer, plus keyboard player. Very nice person. She was a negative person for me a few nights ago as she was texting me incessantly from the Billy Joel concert she was attending in, I believe, in New York. She knows what a Billy Joel fan I am, so that was mean. It was mean and hurtful, Sue. But, it's cool. Sue is the second chair keyboard player in our Billy Joel band, The Strangers, which is playing March 31st at Cabanas. 7 o'clock. Hope you make it out for that. But it was very, very hurtful, Sue. And I'm very, very mad at you. And I'll remain mad at you until Saturday when I see you at the open mic gig. And then I'll give you a hug and a kiss and all will be forgiven. And I want pictures from the concert. And I think I mentioned yesterday with all the talk I do with the Robert Crace novels on here that I hope Robert Crace sees the channel and sees how I've been promoting his books. I actually hope he doesn't because I wrote 3 private eye stories for Exit Zero back in my columnist and short storyist days that were, I call them an homage to the Robert Crace style of writing. I think if he read them, he would call them a ripoff of his style of writing and probably sue me until I had nothing left, which it was not much left to take. Actually, I'd be thrilled if he saw this channel, and then demanded me to hand over my stories for him to read. That would be pretty cool. I have a story like that. I won't try to shoehorn it in tonight, but I have a pretty cool story about something like that. I'm going to make a note for it right now so I don't forget. OSC stands for Orson Scott Card, my favorite science fiction author, but we're already pushing 10 minutes here, and I haven't even really said anything. That seems to be a running theme on this concert. Anyway, I'm watching a great show on Amazon Prime. There's 3 major streaming services in America that if you're a cable person, I will give you my cut your cable cord monologue rambling later. I'm having trouble finding words. 14 hours in the car will do that to you. It's on. There's Netflix, of course, Hulu, and Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime is kind of a mix of Netflix and Hulu. You can rent or buy movies and TV shows. They produce their own movies and TV shows. They have a catalog of movies and TV shows. Not quite as deep as Hulu and Netflix get, but it's kind of a mix of both of them. Plus, you get free shipping on thousands and thousands of items, and it only costs, I think, $108 a year, and you can make that up. It pays for itself at Christmas. If you order, a bunch of stuff, you get free shipping. That stuff adds up and pays for itself over the course of a year. Anyway, the show is called The Tick. It's based on a cult 80s comic book, which itself spawned a cult 90s TV show starring Patrick Warburton, who does the voices on almost every cartoon. And he was on that show where he was married. Another show about a dumb, dim husband, which I think hurts masculinity in this country, but I won't get into that too deeply. He's a guy who sort of talks like this the whole time. Hey, I'm Patrick Warburton. Yeah, hey, it's cool. He was Putty. I'm Putty on Seinfeld. He's one of the guys who painted his face. Yeah, got to paint your face. Go to the game. That kind of guy. He's like on Family Guy and all that. It was the guy in the wheelchair on Family Guy. I mean, he was the star of the 90s version of the show. There's a new version that was been produced by Amazon Prime. Stars Peter Serafinowicz, who you might know if you saw him as a British actor who's sort of a character comedy actor. And he's a superhero, and he sort of has his sidekick, and they're just on an adventure, and there's the backstory, and it's really too much to explain, because it's just sort of bonkers and bizarre. But also very heartfelt, and has some touching moments, and some great performances. Jackie Earle Haley, who was in the Bad News Bears as a little kid, and then was Rorschach in The Watchmen as an adult. He plays the bad guy in this, and he's great. Anyway, I recommend it. The Tick. It's a superhero show, but it's not your Marvel or DC superhero show. It's kind of goofy, it's kind of funny, and also has sort of a big gooey center to it. They produced a pilot to The Tick 3 years ago. Every year, Amazon produces about 6 to 8 pilot episodes of new shows, and whichever one of those shows gets the most downloads, or the most business on Prime, the most views, they will turn into a series. Well, The Tick was one of those shows 2 or 3 years ago. Everyone loved it. It got all this attention, all these downloads, all these hits. They announced they're making this series. They almost completely recast it, and they put out part 1 of season 1 3 years later, and then part 2 of season 1 just came out, and looked like a sick. Because I remember watching the first season last spring, and the second part of the first season just came out like today. It seems, and they've been produced the whole time. I don't know why they were doing that, but I'm glad they're out. Anyway, watch The Tick. It's very funny. And very heartfelt. I think it's pretty kid-friendly. There's a little bit of language, but not worse than you'd hear in a PG-13 movie. I think there's an F word or two here and there, but it's not Shaft or Quentin Tarantino. And it's a lot of fun. My weight loss challenge, I'm back up to the weight I started at last week. I think that's okay, because I spent most of the weekend just sitting. I didn't eat that badly. I barely ate it all Saturday, and then had a big breakfast Sunday, dinner last night. So it was just a combination of sitting in the car. Plus, I had 8-10 beers on Saturday night, just walk around that bar for 6 hours. I'll try to do a walking video tomorrow if I get my butt out of bed. Downton Stabby, you're aware of my birthday story. I'll share that. Not quite yet. I think when we hit March, I'll give you my birthday story. This Saturday is Beatles Night in Smith. I'll stop saying 3rd annual Beatles Open Mic Night in Smithville, though I just said it. That's at 7 o'clock. Free for Smithville residents, $5. I think if you're from outside of Smithville, you can play with the band if you want. Buy a T-shirt. My song recommendation of the day is a song called "World Leader Pretend" by the band R.E.M. I'm in kind of a melancholy mood today, and that song really fits my melancholy mood. And R.E.M. is one of my what's that statue with all the presidents on the Mount Rushmore? Beatles, Prince, R.E.M., Squeeze, Billy Joel's like my top, the 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, my favorite bands. World Leader Pretend off the album Green, which I want to say came out just before their breakthrough album, which is called Out of Time. That's the album that had Losing My Religion and all their early 90s hits on it, when they really broke into the mainstream. The album Green was just before that, just before they hit big. The most famous song on there is probably Orange Crush. There was also one called Pop Song on there. Hello, I know you, I know you, I knew you. I think I can remember your name. Hi, hi, hi. Do you talk about the weather? See how good a singer I am? I'm really in demand. I recommend the whole album, Green. It's a fantastic album, but this song, Roll Leader Pretend, happens to be my favorite song on that album. So check it out. I'm still trying to rewire that podcast deal. Let's see where we are. Again, thank you all for your comments. Oh, our magic numbers of 1,000 and 4,000 are currently at, drumroll please. Thank you. 32 and 32. I believe my sister Erin subscribed. There's other Erin who used the Clorox wipe earlier. My sister Erin, who to my knowledge has never used a Clorox wipe, she subscribed today. My only sibling so far to do it. Thank you, Erin. She's also one of the 3 Patreon supporters we have, along with Erin and Wendy. I'm hoping those numbers will jump right up there as we get towards the end of the month. So that is it. Just not a lot going on right now. I'm sort of in the lull between Beatles, Billy Joel. I do have St. Pat's coming up at Carney's. That's going to be me and Bill Catarini. We were acoustic partners for about 3 years, and then just kind of drifted our separate ways. No, he didn't fire me. I didn't fire him. Nobody rage quit. He just went his way. I went mine. I think when I went back to Elaine's, it ate up too much of my schedule for us to continue. Or maybe he did fire me. I don't know. But we're playing on St. Patty's Day at Carney's. That's the day of the polar bear plunge. Anyway, I'm trying to keep it under 20 minutes tonight. So make sure you're subscribed. Obviously, you're subscribed if you're watching this. Hit the little bell up there for reminders. Hit the About page to open up the Patreon. I'm going to try to get the Patreon to link to each video I post. I might have to do that from the laptop. I'm still trying to get better at this, and I promise I'm going to. There's been enough talking head videos. So I think my upcoming videos, let's just make notes right here. We're going to do a Robert Crace video. I'm going to tell you about Orson Scott Card. We'll talk about my birthday. And anything you guys want to talk about, you can leave comments. I like to talk about everything, as you know. Movies, TV, books, laundry. Misty. Maybe you can see Misty down there, our cat. They're both in the same room, not clawing each other's eyes out. That's a new, that's a step up for them. If you have anything you'd like to talk about, leave in the comment section. I'll make a note. Once I get up to like 50 or so subscribers, I'm going to try to do a live chat, which if you have the notification bell subscribed to, you'll get a little ping on your phone saying Terry O'Brien is live, and we do a live chat, and a little chat box shows up kind of over here, and you can ask questions in there. There's also what they call in there a super chat, where you can make direct donations to me, to my channel, in any denomination you want, if you are so inclined. It'll mostly be a live sort of chat room where I can see, you can ask questions over here, and I can answer them in real time. That's all. Now I'm 18 minutes. Support the Patreon. Support the Arts in Cape May. Hit me up on the Twitter. Hit me up on the Facebook. Leave your questions in the comments of future topics we can talk about. And I'll just keep trying to sort of, as you can tell, I'm sort of falling into a pattern of hitting the same 5 or 6 topics here. If you're cool with that, I'm cool with that. And we'll do more topics as events warrant. That's it. Have a great night. I appreciate y'all being out there for me. And until next time, be good.